Just another American who saw too many movies as a child. Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Die Hard is a 1988 action film directed by John McTiernan that would find massive box office success and would find itself becoming a Christmas classic in the 21st century. Bruce Willis stars as New York City police officer John McClane, a detective with a wife named Holly, played by Bonnie Bedelia, and two young children, Lucy and John Jr. On Christmas Eve, McClane flies from New York to Los Angeles, California, and is picked up at Los Angeles International Airport by limo driver Argyle, played by Devereaux White. John and Holly have been estranged ever since she took a job with the Nakatomi Corporation and moved out to California.
Why'd you come with her, man? What's up?
Because I'm a New York cop. I got a 6-month backlog and New York scumbags I'm still trying to put behind bars. I can't just pick up and go that easy.
Arriving at Nakatomi Plaza, a 35-story tower in Century City, Argyle decides to wait in the parking garage just in case John strikes out with Holly. Upon learning that the building is empty except for her company's Christmas party on the 30th floor, and seeing that Holly now goes by her maiden name, John heads up to the party to surprise her. He meets the company's president, Joe Takagi, played by James Shigeta, and Holly's coked-up co-worker, Harry Ellis, played by Hart Bachner.
I was hoping you made that flight.
Show him the watch.
Later.
Well, go on, show him. What, are you embarrassed? I'm sure I'll see you later. Is there a place where I could wash up?
Sure.
John and Holly enjoy a brief reunion that is soon followed by an argument.
I guess you didn't miss my name, though, huh? Except maybe when you're signing checks. Since when did you start using Ms. Gennaro?
It's a Japanese company. They figure a married woman's got
You are a
more
married
power.
woman, Holly. You're married to
Well,
me.
we're going to have this
Remember, you didn't
conversation
waste
again.
much
We did
time
this in
getting out of
July.
Meanwhile, a group of heavily armed men, led by German radical Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman, kill security, cut phone lines, and shut down elevators, and arrive on the 30th floor at the Christmas party. Armed with just his 9mm Beretta with 16 bullets, John heads to the stairwell and sneaks away from the scene. Hans and his team, including Carl, played by Alexander Godunov, and tech specialist and code cracker Theo, played by Clarence Gilliard, attempt to extract a computer safe code from Takagi and admit to him that they're not really terrorists, but rather a group of thieves posing as terrorists attempting to steal the $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds in the building's vault.
I don't know it, I'm telling you. Get on the jet to Tokyo to ask the chairman. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
John attempts to contact the outside, only to be hunted down by one of the thieves.
Drop it, dickhead. It's the police.
You won't hurt me.
Oh, yeah? Why not?
Because you're a policeman. There are rules for policemen.
Yeah. That's what my captain keeps telling me.
After killing him and taking his MP5 submachine gun, he begins to taunt Hans and his crew.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Using a commandeered radio, he contacts a skeptical Los Angeles Police Department.
Attention, whoever you are, this channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Come the fuck down here and arrest me! Just send the police now!
Who sends Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald VelJohnson, to go investigate.
How the hell is this?
Sorry to waste your time. No problem at all. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you.
After killing 2 more thugs, McClane finally grabs the LAPD's attention by throwing one of the men's corpses out of the window, landing on Powell's police car.
Snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Man, God damn it, Jesus ain't crap!
Causing the henchmen to fire on him from the windows of the tower.
Welcome to the party, pal! Police with automatic rifle fire in Nakatomi! I need backup assistance now! Now, goddammit, now!
As a massive amount of Los Angeles police officers arrive on the scene, McClane verbally taunts Hans over the radio.
Thought I told all of you I want radio silence until further...
I'm very
Sorry, Hans. I didn't get that message.
Maybe you should have put it on the bulletin board. I figured since I...
Wax Tony and Marco and his friend here, I figured you and Carl and Franco might be a little lonely, so I wanted to give you a call.
Check on all the others. Don't use the radio. See if he's lying about Marco and find out if anyone else is missing.
An unscrupulous Los Angeles news reporter named Richard Thornburg, played by William Atherton, heads to Nakatomi Plaza to report on the events and dig deeper to find out all he can about McClane. The Los Angeles police, including Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson, played by Paul Gleason, evaluate the situation with differing opinions on what course of action to take.
He is alone, tired, and he hasn't seen diddly squat from anybody down here. Now you're gonna stand there and tell me that he's gonna give a damn about what you do to him if he makes it out of there alive? Why don't you wake up and smell what you shoveling?
You listen to me, Sergeant. Anytime you want to go home, you consider yourself dismissed.
No, sir. You couldn't drag me away.
As Christmas Eve turns into Christmas Day, John McClane does everything he can to avoid being caught, avoid being killed, avoid letting on that Holly is his wife, and tries to just keep messing with the thieves' plans and killing as many of them as he can.
He wasn't lying about Marco. He's down on the street. And the other man was Heinrich. And his bag is missing.
He had the detonator.
Die Hard had its origins in the mid-1970s. Writer Roderick Thorpe wrote a 1966 novel called The Detective, which was made into a 1968 film of the same name, starring Frank Sinatra and Lee Remick. In early 1975, Thorpe went to the movies and saw the new hit film The Towering Inferno, starring Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. Later that night, after coming home from the movie theater, Thorpe went to sleep and had a dream about a man being chased through a skyscraper by men with guns. He woke up and wrote this idea down, and then turned it into the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever, a sequel to the novel The Detective. The fictional Nakatomi Plaza is the headquarters of 20th Century Studios, so the studio could use one of its own buildings and didn't have to hold back on stunts and action. Die Hard was filmed between November of 1987 and March of 1988 in Los Angeles, California. Clint Eastwood originally owned the rights to the novel Nothing Lasts Forever, on which the movie is based, and planned to star in the film around the early 1980s. Frank Sinatra, who starred as the book character in the 1986 movie The Detective, was considered, but he was already in his early 70s. Richard Gere, Nick Nolte, Tom Berenger, Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, Al Pacino, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Robert De Niro, Charles Bronson, Don Johnson, Richard Dean Anderson, Burt Reynolds, Paul Newman, and Michael Madsen were all considered to play John McClane, but most declined the role. Filmmakers wanted to cast an actor who wasn't a huge muscle-bound action star and who had an everyman persona that could make audiences wonder whether or not the character would actually survive. John Travolta was considered for the role, but 20th Century Fox wouldn't allow it because Travolta was considered a has-been at the time. However, John Travolta would co-star with Bruce Willis the following year in Look Who's Talking, and Look Who's Talking 2 in 1990, and the huge hit film Pulp Fiction in 1994. Bruce Willis, known for the ABC comedy drama Private Detective television series Moonlighting alongside actress Sybil Shepherd, earned the role of John McClane. Other than television work and his lead role in the 1987 Blake Edwards' modest comedy hit film Blind Date, Bruce Willis didn't have a huge film resume, and many were skeptical if he could pull off playing an action hero. Willis received a then unheard-of $5 million fee, which was approved by Fox president Rupert Murdoch. Bruce Willis said that Sybil Shepherd's pregnancy during the 4th season of Moonlighting forced delays in the production of the show, giving him more time to work on filming Die Hard. Willis stated that John McClane was the best character he ever played. The costume department had 17 undershirts in various stages of degradation on hand for Bruce Willis. In 2007, Bruce Willis donated McClane's undershirt to the Smithsonian Museum. The centerfold that John McClane sees and ultimately uses as a point of reference while navigating from the elevator shaft to the air vent is that of Playboy playmate Pamela Stein, Miss November 1987. Another Playboy playmate, Miss May 1982, Kim Mullen, has a small role in the movie as a hostage who was originally discovered by the terrorists having sex with another partygoer. A third Playboy playmate, Miss July 1988, Terry Lynn Doss, plays the woman at the airport who runs past McClane to hug another arriving passenger. Linda Hamilton, Glenn Close, Gina Davis, Deborah Winger, Meryl Streep, Michelle Pfeiffer, Goldie Hawn, Sally Field, Jamie Lee Curtis, Carrie Fisher, and Kelly McGillis were all considered for the role of Holly Gennaro McClane. Kirstie Alley was considered for the role of Holly, but the producers of the hit NBC sitcom Cheers wouldn't allow her time to take on the role. The following year, Kirstie Alley and Bruce Willis would both star in the huge box office hit Look Who's Talking. However, instead of playing his wife, Kirstie Alley would play Bruce Willis's mother. Seeing the 1983 film Heart Like a Wheel, Bruce Willis loved Bonnie Bedelia's performance in that film, and he personally recommended her to play his estranged wife. The scene of John embracing Holly towards the end of the film was shot 4 times because Bruce Willis kept making Bonnie Bedelia laugh. The role of Sergeant Al Powell was originally intended for actor Gene Hackman. Actor Sam Neill turned down the role of Hans Gruber. The role went to Alan Rickman in his feature film debut. In an article for the 30th anniversary of the movie in 2018, Bonnie Bedelia said that the first thing she thinks of when someone mentions the movie is Alan Rickman. The two became friends and had lunch together every day while shooting the film. She expressed how lovely and gentle he was in real life. In the movie, he tries to fucking kill her. Hans Gruber was also the name of an adversary in the 1966 spy spoof comedy film Our Man Flint, starring James Coburn. Many also wonder if the reason the criminals give Ellis a Coca-Cola was because his cocaine-snorting character may have asked them if they had any Coke. Being foreigners, they may not have been privy to his 1980s American cokehead lingo. It's just a fun theory that many fans of the movie often ponder. The scene where Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman meet up was unrehearsed to create a greater feeling of spontaneity between the two actors. Near the end of the movie, Hans mocks John and says that things wouldn't end like the end of an American Western film with Grace Kelly riding off into the sunset with John Wayne. McClane corrects him and says that he means Carrie Cooper. This is a reference to the iconic 1952 film High Noon, which is another action movie about a lone hero having to defeat a large group of enemies while being vastly outnumbered. John McClane's gun is a Beretta 92F 9mm, the same exact prop gun used by Mel Gibson for his character of Martin Riggs in the 1987 Christmas action film Lethal Weapon. Many have questioned how McClane, with only 16 bullets in his gun and no extra magazines, could have so many bullets throughout the entire film. The filmmakers were very clever about this. The submachine guns used by the criminals were MP5s, which used the identical 9mm bullets as the Beretta 92F. During certain scenes, if you watch closely, you can see John McClane loading his handgun magazine with 9mm bullets that come from the machine gun magazines. This would explain why throughout the film, McClane goes through 32 bullets in his handgun instead of 16. Powell's revolver is the Smith & Wesson Model 15, which was the standard for Los Angeles Police Department officers from 1971 to 1988. Bruce Willis and Demi Moore were married at the Golden Nugget Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada during the shooting of this movie. Little Richard presided over the ceremony, and Demi Moore's former Brat Pack member co-star Ali Sheedy was a bridesmaid. The first sneak preview for the public in Mountain View, California, got a standing ovation. This movie was released in July 1988 and grossed a worldwide total of over $141.5 million, making Die Hard a tremendous box office success. And Die Hard became the 7th highest grossing film of 1988. In 2017, Die Hard was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant to American history. After the release of this film, many movies throughout the 1990s tried to copy the movie formula of one man trapped in an enclosed location fighting against terrorists. These included films like Under Siege, Die Hard on a Ship, Sudden Death, Die Hard at a Hockey Stadium, Air Force One, Passenger 57, Con Air, Die Hard on various types of airplanes. These movies were all the rage in the 1990s, trying to capture the spirit and success of Die Hard. Many of them were very, very successful, but Die Hard kind of started that formula. 20th Century Fox formally admitted that this movie is a Christmas film after stating that it is the greatest Christmas story ever told in a 2018 trailer marking the 30th anniversary of the movie's release. However, the debate rages on among many fans about whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I saw this film when I was about 11 years old or so, the end of the 90s, around Y2K, and I completely agree that this is a Christmas movie. The score by Michael Kamen includes the sounds of sleigh bells. The soundtrack includes Christmas songs from Christmas in Hollis by 1980s rap group Run DMC to Vaughn Moore's 1945 recording of Let It Snow. It takes place on Christmas Eve night and early Christmas Day morning. The characters mention Christmas constantly throughout the film. His wife's name is Holly. It's a Christmas movie. There's no question about it. In the early 2020s, I was flipping TV channels on Christmas Eve night. One channel was showing Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life. One channel was showing Chevy Chase, Christmas Vacation. And the other channel was showing Bruce Willis, Die Hard. To me, that means that Die Hard established itself not only as one of the greatest action movies ever made, if not the greatest action movie ever made, but also as an annual Christmas holiday classic.
Happy trails, Hans.
I highly recommend the 1988 Christmas action film, Die Hard, and it gets 10 out of 10 stars.